NFL Week 1. Bigs and Lions over Bakers among projected upsets. And Ravens top Bills on SNF. And so why Gennaro? Why Gennaro picked the Buccaneers Tampa native Michael Penix and Jr. begins his first season by the way as Atlanta's full-time. Started by the way with rivalry about against him hometown team unfortunately. And the southpaw by the way slinger must play without his blind side protector as right tackle Kaleb McGary suffered by the way a season-ending leg injury in the Falcons' final practice of training camp. And by the way, but Penix gets no empathy, no sympathy, no any sympathy from a quarterbacking counterparter Baker Mayfield, and who has a huge blocking concern looming over his own shoulder. And first team, by the way, first team All-Pro LT Tristan Wirfs isn't done for the season, fortunately, but he is expected by the way to miss the early goings following summer surgery on his knee. And so in a divisional showdown featuring potent offensive by the way playmakers on both sides, and which defensive front is better positioned to exploit a diminished blind side. And by the way, Atlanta attempted to address an eternal edge rushing issue in round 1 of April's draft. But I have to see Jalon Walker and James Pearce Jr. and working by the way shop in real games before I am convinced they are the solution to these teams and the pressure problem. And conversely by the way, Tampa Bay has finished top 10 in sacks in each of its 3 seasons under blitz-happy coach Todd Bowles. And this by the way could be Bowles' most disruptive from theater. And if the Buccaneers by the way get continued growth from third year, Pearce, Calijah, Cancey, and Diaby, and a resurgent effort from 2 times Pro Bowler by the way Haason Reddick, and in a game that could feature fireworkers from both offenses. And Tampa by the way D-Rex by the way enough havoc to get the road win. So the question here now, why Brock picked the Bengals? And the Bengals by the way have been notorious for slow starts from 1 to 11 in weeks 1 to 2 since the 2019 season, in fact. And remember last year, by the way, week 1 egg. And I am really trying to be optimistic after the front office rightfully invested in its stars this off-season. And Joe Burrow, by the way, got his feet wet in August. And the Browns, by the way, have always been this wired mountain for Burrow to conquer his 3 to 5 against them in his career. But the band by the way is back together, and the vibes are high, and gives them the advantage on paper over Cleveland's defense. And by the way, which has good pieces, but routinely gave up way too many points in the 2024 season. And the other big question by the way here, did Cincinnati do enough to improve a defense that gave up 25.5 points per game in 2024 season? The answer here now. The answer by the way will be working out a deal with Terry Hendrickson was a start, but the jury is still out. And the first test by the way is a Browns offense led by 40-year-old Joey Flacco. And the Bengals by the way should pass it. And the question again, why Ali? Why Ali picked the Colts for 2 teams coming off from 8 to 9 campaigns? And neither the Colts nor the Dolphins had off-season. And benefiting by the way teams on the rise, and the Miami Patriots perceptions about its toughness and leadership. Andy depleted by the way DB group, and while Andy embarked on a bunchless quarterback competition that concluded with newcomer Daniel Jones, not former number 4 by the way, overall Big Anthony Richardson, and earning by the way the starting job and the uncertainty swirling over both teams. Clouds the forecast on Sunday. And Mike, by the way, Mike McDaniels, by the way, struck record in season openers from 3-0 suggests an edge over chain station 0-2. But while that's, by the way, a fun state, I suspect it will be less influential on the final outcome than the Fians revamped front 7 and can the unit which will debut first rounder Kenneth Grant and return both Jalon Phillips and Bradley Chubb and significant, by the way, injuries and make the Colts one-dimensional and mitigate Miami's suspect secondary. And by the way, maybe, but as encouraging as the unit sounds on paper and may end up eventually being on the field, and I will need to see it to believe it. And so for consistency, by the way, sake, I am leaning toward the veteran lead home team in this clash of question marks. Why Tom picked the Jaguars, and these franchises, by the way, have faced each other 8 times in their 30 seasons of existence. And splitting, by the way, the series right down the middle from 4-4. That feels like a perfect reflection, by the way, of where Carolina and Jacksonville stand entering 2025 season, trying to convert good and or improved vibes into consistent on-field success. I am tempted, by the way, to pick the Panthers to build on their momentum from last season. In no small part, by the way, because Dave Cannells and Bryce Young know each other better at this point than Trevor Lawrence and first year, by the way, Judges head coach Liam Cohen do. I am leery. I also am leery, by the way, of where Lawrence is at on his developmental trajectory. And stardom, by the way, stardom and mediocrity seem equally plausible. Then again, we have seen Lawrence and other score pieces like Brian Thomas Jr. and Josh Hines Allen. Thank you so much. Have a nice time and great day. Thank you.